Sappho in the 21st Century, a 10-minute play by Carol Van Hoopergan. Sappho, played by Carter Ansley. Astrid, played by Lily Treaton. Directed by Christine Hayden. Setting: Sappho and Astrid's rustic one-story ranch home. A modern kitchen with light brown wood accents, light gray quartz countertops, and charcoal gray cabinets. A breakfast bar, and a medium-sized stainless steel refrigerator, and a small, distressed sliding barn door for their pantry. A charcoal gray couch sits front and center, serving as the living room. An oak coffee table is in front of the couch. A record player sits on a table beside the couch with a box of records next to it on the floor. Two women enter. Sappho, 1,440 years old. Dressed in a royal blue one-shoulder chiffon dress with a jewel decorative clasp at the shoulder and hip. And Astrid, 30 years old. Dressed in a flowing pink dress with spaghetti straps, a slit in the front ending just above her knee, a 2 tiers of fabric on the back trimmed and below around her ankles. They dance on stage from the left. Sappho goes to the fridge and retrieves a bottle of champagne.
Maybe we should slow down. Nonsense. We're celebrating us. 3 years of marriage. I haven't found anyone worth marrying in 1,437 years, you know.
Oh, please. You haven't been looking for someone to marry since you were born.
You don't know that.
Sappho opens the champagne, pours a glass for herself and one for Astrid, walks to the living room, hands Astrid her glass, sets the bottle on the coffee table, and kneels to riffle through the box of records. She finds the one she's looking for. Amazed by Lone Star erupts from the record player.
You run the risk of ruining our first dance song if you play it every anniversary.
Astrid, nevertheless, sets her drink on the coffee table and extends her arm to Sappho. They dance in the living room.
Come to me now, once again, and release me from grueling anxiety. All that my heart longs for, fulfill, and be yourself, my ally in love's battle. As I listen to your sweet voice and your enticing laughter, that indeed has stirred up the heart in my breast. For whenever I look at you, even briefly, I can no longer say a single thing.
When the song ends, they pick up their glasses of champagne and sit on the couch. Sappho drains her glass and pours another. Astrid leans her head on the back of the couch and stares forlornly at the ceiling.
I think we should expand our little family unit.
Like getting a cat.
I was thinking more along the lines of a baby.
Sappho sips her champagne.
I thought you didn't want kids. I thought this was something we agreed on. Our united front.
It was. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I've been conditioned to see a family without kids as incomplete. Can we at least consider the idea?
Why do you want kids?
Why don't you?
I asked you first. But there are a lot of responsibilities and they can be loud and disobedient.
They aren't dogs, Sappho.
You're right. They're a lot more high maintenance.
Don't you want to be responsible for a living being?
Last I checked, a cat satisfied baptize that name. Do you want to start small with a pet? That's usually how people do this thing.
But what you say to a cat doesn't help shape them as a person. You have no say in their personality. And a cat most certainly doesn't look to you for guidance. A cat can't come home from school and tell you everything they've learned.
Do you really care about what your kid learns? It's all stuff you already know.
Says the woman who always spells Tuesday wrong.
Tableau, with Astrid crossing her arms on the opposite side of the couch from Sappho. Sappho drains her glass with her head tilted back and freezes when the liquid is gone. Fade to black. Scene 2. The lights come up to show the living room and kitchen covered in pen adoption portfolios. Astrid enters from the right. She sees the house littered with papers and sighs quietly.
Really, Sappho? Fun. Two can play at this game.
Astrid sits on the couch with a piece of paper and a pen. She writes fervently, pretending to have poems of enlightenment.
Got it. Oh, that's perfect. I like how this one rolls off the tongue.
Finally, she takes down Sappho's cat adoption ad on the fridge and puts her list of baby names. Astrid starts picking up some of the adoption ads. Sappho enters from the right. She begins making cereal. She stops when she sees Astrid's list of baby names on the fridge. Sappho reads them for a moment. Astrid grabs another sheet of paper and starts planning the layout of the nursery.
We'll go with neutral colors, just to be on the safe side. Oh, the crib could go here. Oh, but we should leave room to upgrade to a bed. Should we add a bookcase? Is a pride flag over the top?
She leaves the sketch on the top coffee table.
All these names are too unoriginally American. Emily, Jessica, Jennifer? Really?
Sappho steals Astrid's pen and adds some names. She rephrases the list.
There. Aphrodite, Andromeda, and Iris. Though, if we're being honest, Eris, the goddess of strife and destruction, suits a child much better than any of these pretty Greek names.
I cannot believe you just said that.
The truth hurts, huh?
Not all children are terrible. I have met well-behaved children that are a joy to be around.
The phrase terrible twos exists for a reason, Astrid. I don't understand how you can ever enjoy being around children. The young ones grab at everything. Cats certainly wouldn't enjoy that, poor thing. And the slightly older ones are inexplicably sticky all the time. The adolescents hate you. I don't think you can stand to be hated. And do you know what those rapscallions do in their free time? Cats, they sleep all day. Sure, they shred stuff from time to time, but they should be fine if given an adequate scratching post. If you're longing for the on and off relationship you get with children, cats do the same thing.
Sappho takes a few bites of her cereal to indicate that her rant is over. She takes her bowl to the living room and sits beside Astrid on the couch. She sets the bowl gently on the coffee table beside the adoption ads.
A child's curiosity is astounding. It would be my pleasure to watch them learn and grow, but they're impressionable.
Exactly. What if they disapprove of us?
We can raise them to be accepting and open-minded.
I know, but what if they get made fun of for having two moms? What if they have friends that use gay as a synonym for bad? We can't help how other people raise their kids.
Right, but we can make sure our kid is better than society has conditioned them to be. We can help them counter any homophobic or rude comments anyone might make.
What if they pick up all of our bad habits? I don't want to stare at a reflection of the worst parts of myself.
You have amazing qualities that I would be glad to see our kid mimic. Is that what this has all been about? Is that the real reason you don't want kids?
Yeah. And
Sappho runs around the living room and continues screaming.
gotta skip aside. Okay.
She grabs the pot and a wooden spoon and bangs on the pot. She opens and slams the oven and fridge doors as hard as she can.
Stop it! You are acting so childish!
Astrid runs after Sappho.
Well, I'm gonna have to get used to that if you want kids.
Astrid stops abruptly.
Does my happiness mean nothing to you? Can you at least consider it?
Astrid exits. A door slams. Sappho is left standing in the living room. She sets her cereal bowl in the sink, stares at the list of baby names on the fridge door, and sits back on the couch. Her eyes land on a nursery sketch Astrid put together. She picks it up silently, rereading it.
Rose, or Andromeda, or Aphrodite. Can I love you as tenderly as Astrid? Could you ever complete me the way she does? It's impossible. The truth is, I'm not ready to share Astrid. You would be such a disruption in our life, a disruption which we could watch grow and learn. Maybe she's right. Can I stay strong enough to bear your burdens? And are you worth all the struggle and the pain? Of course you are. To give life is my honor, our small, sweet child. We bring you to a world void of acceptance. We love you like all of that doesn't exist. Face the world loving, and it will reward you. We will raise you right.
Sappho grabs the nursery sketch and runs off stage to the right. Sappho and Astrid re-enter from the right with laptops tucked under their arms. They sit on the couch and open their laptops.
You look up our options for procreating, and I'll do some calculations.
Astrid nods with determination.
Our options are in uterine insemination and in vitro fertilization. IUI makes more sense for us because in vitro is more applicable to mothers with unviable wombs. I guess that means we just need a sperm donor. I'm assuming I'll be pregnant considering you barely want the kid.
I want the child. I just don't know if my body could handle it. I'm not as young as I used to be. My other concern is how expensive this is, considering we don't have a fortune set aside on creating and sustaining life.
Are you sure we can give up all this for a kid? I mean, we live comfortably.
We can afford to live uncomfortably.
They left, but a realization dawned on Sappho.
Damn. This means I'm gonna have to actually get a job.
Sorry, babe. Writing poems doesn't pay the bills.
It's fine. I'll figure it out.
Fade to black. Scene 3. 1 year later, evening. Sappho and Astrid enter from the left. Sappho in a red shirt and khakis, and Astrid in a pinstripe suit. Astrid walks into the kitchen to begin making dinner. Sappho collapses on the couch.
You'd think I'd be used to opening shifts after a year of working there. But alas, that assumption could not be more wrong.
Was the Starbucks and Target really busy today?
Worse, the Starbucks and Target were really busy today.
I warned you not to take both jobs.
I did it because I wanted baby.
Astrid quietly flips through a cookbook. She picks a recipe, gets a few tomatoes out of the fridge, and grabs a knife and a cutting board. She fishes a colander out from the bottom of the cabinet. A chorus of crashes sound as pots and pans are disrupted. Sappho sleeps through it. Astrid closes the cabinet, one very loud kind of crash sound. Sappho sleeps through it. Astrid quietly cleans the tomatoes. A baby can be heard crying from offstage. Before Astrid can stop what she's doing, Sappho springs up from the couch.
Mommy's coming, dear.
End.